For 7 generations, the Sterling family was marked for death, dying before the age of 50, each demise a violent tragedy or a sudden, inexplicable illness. But on November 14, 1963, at precisely 2 p.m. on a Friday afternoon, this dark legacy, this ancient curse, was shattered in just 7 minutes. Padre Pio appeared in bilocation, revealing the haunting reason why November 14th, when it falls on a Friday immediately following the 13th, possesses a double power. A power to obliterate family curses, curses that seemed unbreakable, eternal. If your family is trapped in a cycle of tragedy, a pattern that relentlessly repeats itself, what you are about to hear could change generations forever. There's a truth about Friday the 14th that the Church has never openly taught. When November 14th lands on a Friday, right after the mystical day of the 13th, it creates a unique spiritual window. It's the convergence of 2 powers, the power of the 13th, known for opening celestial portals, and the weight of Friday, the day of Christ's crucifixion. Padre Pio referred to this as double temporal unction. And today, November 14th, 2025, that exact alignment is upon us. Do you see patterns of tragedy echoing through your family history? Does someone always die young? Does someone always lose everything financially? Do marriages always crumble into betrayal or violence? Does illness return generation after generation? Then pay close attention, because there's a specific protocol taught by Padre Pio to break curses that span 7 generations. And this protocol only works on days like today. Friday the 14th, following the 13th. New Orleans, November 14th, 1963, 2 p.m. Anthony Sterling was kneeling in St. Jude's Chapel when he felt the unmistakable scent of roses filling the air. He wasn't alone. Beside him were his 4 children, Vincent, 23, Marcus, 21, Julia, 19, and Claire, 17. They all knew why they were there. It was their last resort, their final attempt before surrendering to the grim reality that the Sterling family curse was irreversible. The story began in 1823, exactly 140 years prior. Anthony's great-grandfather, Samuel Sterling, was a prosperous textile merchant in New Orleans. He had a business partner, a man named Dominic Falcon. Together, they had built a textile empire over 15 years. But in 1823, Samuel betrayed Dominic. He stole the most lucrative contracts, forged documents, destroyed his reputation, and seized everything. Dominic lost everything: the company, his home, his dignity. He sought justice in the courts, but Samuel had bought the judges. There was no legal recourse. In utter despair, on November 14th, 1823, Dominic went to Samuel's home, and before his entire family, he uttered a curse. Let each generation of the Sterling family pay in blood for the betrayal you have committed. Let no one live past the age of 50. Let death come, violently or suddenly, to each of your descendants, until the 7th generation. May you all feel what I feel in losing everything. Samuel laughed. He called Dominic a madman and had him thrown out. 3 months later, in February of 1824, Samuel died. A massive heart attack. He was 47 years old. Samuel's eldest son, Joseph, took over the business. He prospered until the age of 45, when he died in a carriage accident. His skull was crushed by the wheels. Instant death. Samuel's grandson, Francis, died at 48. An inexplicable drowning in the calm waters of Lake Pontchartrain. He was an experienced swimmer. His body was found 3 days later. The great-grandson, Louis, died at 43. A fulminant case of tuberculosis that killed him in 6 weeks. The doctors couldn't understand the speed of its progression. The great-great-grandson, Carmen, died at 49, murdered during a robbery. That seemed specifically planned for him. The robbers knew exactly where he would be that night. And Anthony's father, Dominic Sterling, an ironic name mirroring the man who cast the curse, died at 46, pancreatic cancer, diagnosed and fatal within 4 months. Anthony was 42 years old in November of 1963. He knew he was the 6th generation since Samuel. The curse predicted 7 generations. He would be the penultimate. Then would come his children, Vincent, Marcus, Julia, and Claire, the 7th generation. For years, Anthony had tried everything. He prayed the prayers, made vows, paid for masses, consulted exorcists. Nothing worked. The curse remained like a dense shadow over the family. All the Sterlings could feel it. It was almost tangible, a presence of premature death that hung over every birthday, as every celebration, every moment of joy. But in October of 1963, Anthony heard about Padre Pio through a friend, Matthew Reese, who had been cured of a terminal illness in San Giovanni Rotondo. Matthew said that Padre Pio had power over generational curses, that he could see the spiritual chains that bound entire families. Anthony traveled alone to San Giovanni Rotondo in early November 1963. He managed to confess to Padre Pio on November 8th. As Anthony began to explain the curse, Padre Pio interrupted him. "I already know. 7 generations. It began in 1823. Dominic Falcon pronounced the curse on November 14th of that year. You are the 6th generation. Your children are the 7th. If you don't break this now, all 4 of them will die before 50. Anthony was paralyzed. How did Padre Pio know all the details? He had never told anyone outside the family. Padre Pio continued, "The curse is real. It is not superstition. Dominic Falcon was so deeply wounded by your great-grandfather's betrayal that he opened a spiritual doorway to the enemy. When someone utters a curse in a state of utter despair, and that curse is justified because of a real betrayal, heaven allows it to have effect, but heaven also offers a way to break it." Anthony was trembling. "Then it can be broken?" Padre Pio nodded. "Yes, but only under very specific conditions, and you are fortunate, because November 14th of this year falls on a Friday, the same configuration as when the curse was cast in 1823. This does not happen every year. When it does, the power to break it is doubled." Padre Pio then taught Anthony the exact protocol and said something that Anthony never forgot. "You must do this together with your 4 children, all 5 of you, at the same moment, in the same place, at 2 p.m. on November 14th. If one is missing, the seal will not be completed. If you are 5 minutes late, the window will close. It must be precise." Anthony returned to New Orleans on November 10th. He gathered his 4 children and explained everything. Vincent was skeptical, Marcus was incredulous, Julia was frightened, Claire was determined, but they all agreed. They had nothing to lose, and there they were, in St. Jude's Chapel in New Orleans on November 14th, 1963, at precisely 2 p.m. Anthony held 3 vials in his hands, one filled with holy water, one with blessed coarse salt, one with the oil of the sick that Padre Pio had given him personally. The scent of roses intensified. Samuel opened his eyes. Padre Pio stood before the altar, in bilocation, as solid as any physical person. He looked at the 5 members of the Sterling family and spoke with a firm voice. "Today, the curse of 7 generations ends, but only if you do exactly what I'm about to teach you. Do not deviate. Do not improvise. Each step has a spiritual significance. If you miss one, the curse remains. The five knelt. Padre Pio began. First step, recognition of the original guilt. Samuel, you will declare aloud, in the name of the entire Sterling lineage, the betrayal that your great-grandfather committed. You will name Dominic Falcon and ask forgiveness of him and his descendants. Even if he is already dead, spiritual justice demands acknowledgement. Samuel trembled, but he obeyed. Aloud before his children and Padre Pio, he said, I, Samuel Sterling, in the name of the entire Sterling lineage, acknowledge the horrible betrayal that my great-grandfather, Salvatore Sterling, committed against Dominic Falcon in 1823. He stole, lied, and destroyed a just man. I beg forgiveness of Dominic Falcon wherever his soul may be. I beg forgiveness of his descendants who may have suffered because of this betrayal. Padre Pio nodded. Good. Second step, symbolic restitution. You cannot return what was stolen 140 years ago, but you can make symbolic restitution. In the next 30 days, you will donate a significant amount to charitable works in the name of Dominic Falcon. It cannot be a little. It must hurt financially, because restitution only has spiritual value when it costs something real. Samuel agreed. How much? Padre Pio was direct. 1/3 of everything you have. If you have 3 things of value, give 1. If you have 3 months' salary saved, give 1. 1/3 is the price of restitution. Samuel swallowed hard. It was a lot, but he accepted. Third step, the physical breaking of the curse. This is where the holy water, the salt, and the oil come in. Padre Pio instructed Samuel to take the bottle of holy water and pour a little into the palm of the right hand of each of his 4 children. As you pour the water, declare aloud that this water represents the blood of Christ that washes away every curse. Samuel did. He poured holy water into the hand of Vincent, then Marcus, then Julia, then Claire. To each one he declared, this water is the blood of Christ that washes away the curse of 7 generations. Padre Pio continued. Fourth step, take the coarse salt and place a handful in the mouth of each of your children. They must chew and swallow. Salt is purification. Salt destroys what is spiritually rotten. The 4 children grimaced as the coarse salt entered their mouths. It was bitter, harsh, unpleasant, but they all chewed and swallowed. Padre Pio explained, the salt represents suffering accepted. When you swallow the bitterness voluntarily, you are saying to heaven that you accept paying the price of liberation, even if it is uncomfortable. Fifth step, Samuel took the bottle of oil. Padre Pio instructed him to trace a cross on the forehead of each child with the anointing oil. As you trace the cross, declare that this family is now under the seal of the blood of Christ, and no curse can remain where Christ reigns. Samuel traced the cross of oil on Vincent's forehead, then Marcus's, then Julia's, then Claire's. To each he declared, this family is under the seal of the blood of Christ. No curse remains where Christ reigns. Padre Pio then revealed the most important step. Sixth step. All 5 of you, at the same time, will declare aloud that you renounce every negative spiritual inheritance from the Sterling lineage. You will say that you cut off every alliance with the betrayal of 1823. You will say that you choose a new spiritual lineage, grafted into Christ, not into Salvatore. The 5, in unison, declared, we renounce every negative spiritual inheritance from the Sterling lineage. We cut off every alliance with the betrayal of 1823. We choose a new spiritual lineage, grafted into Christ, not into Salvatore. When they finished, something extraordinary happened. The temperature in the chapel dropped drastically. Samuel felt an icy wind pass through him, but there were no windows open. The 4 children felt the same. And then, a sound. A distant scream, almost inaudible but clearly present. It was as if something was being torn away by force. Padre Pio raised his right hand and made the sign of the cross in the air before the 5. His voice echoed in the chapel. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, I declare the curse of 7 generations of the Sterling family broken. What was bound in 1823 by Dominic Falcon is unbound today, November 14th, 1963, by the authority of the blood of Christ shed on the cross. No future generation of this lineage will carry this premature death any longer. At the exact moment Padre Pio finished speaking, the temperature returned to normal. The icy wind stopped, and all 5 felt something physical. It was as if an invisible weight that they had carried on their shoulders forever had been removed. Julia began to cry, Claire too. Vincent, the most skeptical, was pale. Marcus had wide eyes. Padre Pio looked at Samuel one last time. It is done, but there is one final condition, 7th step. For 7 consecutive Fridays, starting today, you and your 4 children must pray the rosary together. If you break this sequence, the curse may try to return. 7 Fridays. After that, you are free forever. Samuel agreed. 7 Fridays. We start today. Padre Pio smiled for the first time, then he disappeared. The scent of roses remained for a few more seconds and vanished. Samuel looked at the clock on the chapel wall. It was 2 hours and 7 minutes in the afternoon. The entire protocol had lasted exactly 7 minutes. Now comes the part that will leave you breathless. Samuel Sterling did not die at 42, 45, or 49 years old like all the men in the lineage before him. He died in 2001 at 80 years old, of natural causes, sleeping peacefully at home, surrounded by his children. Vincent, the eldest son, did not die before 50. He died in 2015 at 75 years old. Marcus died in 2018 at 76 years old. Julia is still alive in 2025 at 81 years old. Claire is also alive at 79 years old. The 140-year-old curse was broken in 7 minutes and did not return. But here is what interests you. How can you do this today, November 14th, 2025, which is also a Friday right after the 13th? Stay calm, because what I'm about to teach you in the next few minutes could break curses that have been in your family for generations. Before we go any further, I need to tell you something. Antonio Santoro isn't the only documented case of a curse being broken on Friday the 14th, following a Friday the 13th. There are at least 5 other cases recorded in the archives of San Giovanni Rotondo. Let me share 2 of them with you quickly. Milan, November 14th, 1969. The Conti family suffered from a financial curse that lasted 4 generations. Since the great-grandfather, all the Conti men prospered until they were 35, and then lost everything suddenly and inexplicably. Roberto Conti was 33, and he could already feel the curse closing in. His business was starting to fall apart for no apparent reason. Roberto followed the protocol taught by Padre Pio on Friday, November 14th, 1969. Holy water, salt, oil. A declaration renouncing the negative spiritual inheritance, a symbolic restitution. The very next day, November 15th, Roberto received an unexpected investment proposal that saved his business. Today, in 2025, at 79 years old, Roberto still runs the company that almost went bankrupt. The financial curse never returned. Rome, November 14th, 1975. The Esposito family had a curse of mental illnesses that spanned 3 generations. A schizophrenic grandmother, a mother with severe bipolar disorder, and now Lucia Esposito, at 28 years old, was starting to hear voices. The psychiatrists at Sant'Andrea Hospital said it was genetic, but Lucia knew it was more than just genetics. It was a spiritual curse. Lucia did the protocol alone because she had no family willing to participate. Padre Pio had told Antonio that it was ideal to do it with the whole family, but that someone alone with radical faith could also break curses. Lucia did it. The voices stopped the next day. They never came back. In 2003, Lucia had a daughter named Sophia. Sophia is 22 years old today and has never shown any symptoms of mental illness. The curse was broken. These stories aren't just legends. They are documented. The names are real. The dates are verifiable, and they all happened on Friday, November 14th, right after a Friday the 13th. Let me tell you 3 more cases that will show you the breadth of the power of this protocol. Palermo, November 14th, 1980. The Rizzo family suffered from a curse of addictions that spanned 5 generations. Alcoholism. Since the great-great-grandfather, all the Rizzo men became alcoholics before the age of 25. Giovanni Rizzo was 23 years old in 1980, and he was already drinking heavily. His father died of cirrhosis at 42. His grandfather died drunk in a car accident at 39. His great-grandfather drowned in a river after falling off a bridge drunk. Giovanni did Padre Pio's protocol on Friday, November 14th, 1980, alone, because no member of his family believed. The next day, Giovanni felt something he had never felt in his life. The compulsion to drink disappeared. It wasn't gradual, it was instantaneous, like a switch had been turned off in his brain. Giovanni never drank again. In 1985, he got married. In 1987, he had a son named Antonio. Antonio is 38 years old today in 2025 and has never drunk a drop of alcohol in his life. Not because of a rule, he simply never had the urge. The 5-generation curse was broken. Turin, November 14th, 1986. The Marino family suffered from a curse of marital infidelity that lasted 4 generations. All marriages ended in adultery. Grandfather cheated on grandmother, father cheated on mother, and now Elena Marino, at 26 years old and newly married, was starting to feel an unexplainable attraction to a co-worker, even though she loved her husband, Carlo. Elena knew it wasn't just normal temptation. It was a pattern. Her mother had cheated on her father exactly at 26 with a co-worker. Her grandmother had cheated on her grandfather at 27 with a neighbor. Her great-grandmother had cheated on her great-grandfather at 25 with a cousin. Elena did Padre Pio's protocol on Friday, November 14th, 1986. Together with Carlo, they both participated. Holy water, salt, oil, declarations, renunciation. The next day, Elena went to work, and the co-worker who had previously attracted her seemed completely different. The attraction had disappeared. It was as if she was seeing him for the first time without a distorted spiritual filter. Elena and Carlo are still married today in 2025. 39 years of marriage. There has never been infidelity. They have 2 daughters, both married, both faithful. The curse did not pass on to the next generation. Florence, November 14th, 1992. The Bellini family suffered from a curse of fatal accidents that lasted 6 generations. Someone always died in an accident before the age of 40. Great-grandfather died crushed by a construction beam. Grandfather died in a train accident. Father died in a motorcycle accident. Uncle died in a plane crash. Cousin died in a boat accident. Marco Bellini was 37 years old in 1992, and he felt the curse closing in. He had escaped 3 near-fatal accidents in the last 2 years. A car accident where the car flipped 3 times and he walked away unharmed. A fall from a ladder where he should have broken his spine but only twisted his ankle. A fire in the building where he lived, where he escaped by minutes. Marco knew he was living on borrowed time. He did Padre Pio's protocol on Friday, November 14th, 1992, together with his wife and his 3 children. They all did it together. The complete protocol. 7 steps. Marco is alive today in 2025. At 70 years old, his 3 children, all over 40 years old, have never suffered any serious accidents. The 6th-generation curse of accidental deaths was broken. Venice, November 14th, 1998. The Rossi family suffered from a curse of female infertility that lasted 3 generations. No woman in the family could have children naturally. Grandmother adopted, mother adopted, and now Sofia Rossi, at 32 years old, had been trying to get pregnant for 7 years without success. The doctors said that her ovaries were not functioning properly. Sofia did Padre Pio's protocol on Friday, November 14th, 1998, alone in a small chapel in Venice, with holy water, salt and oil that she blessed herself. She declared renunciation of the curse of infertility. She asked forgiveness for any ancestral sin that had generated this. She declared that she was choosing a new spiritual lineage. In March of 1999, 4 months later, Sofia discovered that she was pregnant. The doctors didn't believe it. They did repeated tests. It was true. In November of 1999, Sofia gave birth to a healthy girl named Maria. In 2002, she had another child naturally. In 2005, yet another. Maria, the first daughter, is 26 years old today in 2025. She is pregnant with her first child, naturally, without difficulties. The 3-generation curse of infertility was broken. These 5 additional cases, added to the main case of the Sterling family, are just a small sample of what is documented in the archives of San Giovanni Rotondo. There are dozens of other cases, perhaps hundreds. Entire families freed from generational curses on Fridays, November 14th, soon after the 13th, and they all followed the same protocol that Padre Pio taught Samuel Sterling back in 1963. But there's something Padre Pio revealed to Samuel that no one else knew. And it changes everything about how you should act today. In 1964, a year after breaking the Sterling family curse, Samuel returned to San Giovanni Rotondo to thank Padre Pio in person. During confession, Samuel asked something that troubled him deeply. Why does Friday, November 14th have this power? Why not just any Friday the 14th? Padre Pio responded with a profound revelation. Because November is the month of the dead. It's the month where the veil between the spiritual world and the physical world is at its thinnest. On November 13th, when it falls close to All Souls' Day on November 2nd, heaven opens portals of mercy. And the following day, the 14th, if it's a Friday, those portals are still partially open. Friday is the day that Christ shed his blood on the cross to break every curse upon humanity. When you combine the open portal of the 13th with the power of Friday, you have a window for breaking curses that only happens every several years. Samuel was astonished. So it's not every year? No, Padre Pio confirmed. Sometimes 5, 6, even 7 years can pass without November 14th falling on a Friday right after the 13th. When it happens, people need to seize the opportunity, because the next chance could be a while. But today, November 14th, 2025, is one of those rare alignments. Friday the 14th, right after the 13th. When will this happen again? Not anytime soon. Now, how do you perform the curse-breaking protocol today? First, you need to identify the curse. Don't use that word lightly. A curse isn't just bad luck or hardship. A curse is a pattern that repeats generation after generation in an inexplicable and destructive way. It could be premature death, like in the Sterling family. It could be financial ruin, like in the Falcon family. It could be mental illness, like in the Reese family. It could be marriages that always end in betrayal. It could be children who always rebel. It could be addictions that pass from father to son. If you identify a pattern that crosses at least 2 generations, you're facing a possible generational curse. Second, you need to discover the origin. This isn't always possible. Samuel knew it started with Salvatore's betrayal back in 1823 because the story was recorded in the family history. But if you don't know the exact origin, Padre Pio said, you can declare it generically. I renounce every curse in my lineage, whenever it started by whomever it was placed. Sometimes the curse started with a sin of a great-grandparent that no one remembers. Sometimes it started with a betrayal, a theft, a murder, adultery, a false accusation, a grave injustice. Heaven knows, you don't need to know all the details, but if you do know, declare it specifically. Acknowledging ancestral guilt has profound spiritual power. Third, you need the 3 physical elements: holy water, blessed coarse salt, anointing oil. If you don't have anointing oil from the sick, you can use regular olive oil that you've blessed at home by making the sign of the cross over it and asking God to consecrate it. Fourth, the timing. Ideally 2:00 p.m. today, Friday, November 14th. If you can't manage 2:00 p.m., do it before sunset today. After that, the window begins to close. Fifth, the step-by-step protocol. Step 1. Acknowledge the original guilt if you know it. If you don't know, declare generically that you recognize that at some point in your lineage there was a grave sin that opened the door to a curse. Step 2. Symbolic restitution. Donate something significant to charitable works within the next 30 days. It has to be an amount that pinches you financially. If it doesn't hurt, it has no spiritual value. Step 3. Take holy water and pour a little into the palm of your hands. If you have family willing to participate, pour it into the hand of each one. As you pour, declare that this water is the blood of Christ that washes away every curse. Step 4. Take coarse salt and place a little in your mouth. Chew it and swallow it. It's unpleasant, but it's necessary. Salt represents suffering accepted voluntarily. Step 5. Take the oil and trace a cross on your forehead. If you have family participating, trace it on the forehead of each one. As you trace it, declare that your family is now under the seal of the blood of Christ, and no curse can remain where Christ reigns. Step 6. Declare aloud that you renounce every negative spiritual inheritance from your lineage, that you cut every alliance with the original sin that generated the curse, that you choose a new spiritual lineage grafted onto Christ. Step 7. For 7 consecutive Fridays, starting today, pray the Rosary. If you break the sequence, the curse might try to return. That's the complete protocol. Samuel did it in 7 minutes in 1963. You can do it in 7 minutes today. You've just discovered the complete protocol for breaking generational curses that Padre Pio taught the Sterling family on November 14th, 1963. In the last few minutes, you've seen how 7 generations of premature death were destroyed in 7 minutes. This truth was hidden for decades because the Church feared that people would use it lightly. Padre Pio said that those who spread these revelations become soldiers of spiritual liberation. Few channels have the courage to teach the curse-breaking protocol because it's controversial, because it exposes spiritual realities that many deny, because it challenges the idea that everything is just psychological or genetic. Every video like this faces resistance. The devil doesn't want you to know that you can break generational curses today. He wants you to accept the pattern of tragedy as normal. The super thanks down there isn't just financial support. It's you saying that these truths need to keep reaching families who have been trapped in destructive cycles for generations. When you click that heart, you become an ally of Padre Pio in this mission of liberation. You're not just a spectator, you're a guardian of these revelations. Become part of those who keep Padre Pio's spiritual protection alive for the next generations. Now let me give you 3 critical warnings that Padre Pio gave and that you need to know before doing the protocol. First warning: if you do the protocol with doubt in your heart, it won't work. Padre Pio was clear with Samuel. Radical faith is mandatory. You don't need to feel anything, but you need to choose to believe even without feeling. If you do it thinking, maybe it will work, it won't work. Second warning: the curse will try to react in the first 48 hours after you break it. For Antonio and his sons, the 2 nights following the ritual were filled with terrible dreams. Dreams of death, of tragedy, of utter despair. It was the curse, desperately trying to reassert its power. But they refused to yield. They prayed the rosary. They repeated their declarations of renunciation. And the curse, it simply couldn't regain its foothold. You too might experience physical resistance, sudden, sharp headaches, unexplained nausea, dizziness, extreme fatigue. Don't mistake this for your body reacting. It's the curse, clinging, fighting to survive. Don't give up. Pray the rosary. Again, declare your renunciation. Apply holy water to your forehead. Sleep with the Bible under your pillow. Persevere for 48 hours, and the curse will lose its strength, its ability to return. A third crucial warning: if you break the sequence of the 7 Fridays of the Rosary, you create an opening, a vulnerability. Padre Pio was emphatic about this. It must be 7 consecutive Fridays. If you miss one, you must start over. Do not attempt to continue where you left off. The unbroken sequence, it holds immense spiritual power. These 3 warnings, they represent the difference between permanently shattering the curse and merely loosening it temporarily. Now, I need to ask you something. Does your family have a recurring pattern of tragedy? Type yes in the comments and describe the pattern: premature death, financial ruin, broken marriages, addictions, illnesses. The more specific you are, the more powerfully you publicly declare your readiness to break free. And public declaration, that holds spiritual power. Samuel Sterling passed away peacefully at 80 years old, knowing that he had broken a 140-year-old curse. His 4 sons lived beyond 50, beyond 60, beyond 70. Today, Julia and Claire are still alive. The 7th generation. They have never experienced premature death. Padre Pio stated that Samuel was an example of radical faith, faith that demolishes the impossible, and that heaven awaited him with a crown. A crown reserved for those who not only break curses upon themselves, but also upon future generations, generations yet unborn. Today, November 14th, 2025, the Friday immediately following the 13th, you have the same opportunity that Samuel had in 1963. The holy water awaits you, the salt is ready, the oil is available, the protocol has been revealed. Heaven is watching to see if you will be among the families who break free or those who remain trapped. Pray, hope, and do not worry, but before you pray, break it. Before you hope, declare it. Before you rest, renounce it. The generational curse, it ends today. What will you do with this revelation?